All right, we'll roll into the Orange County Industrial Development Agency Financial Committee meeting. The time is 3:52. Can we call the meeting to order, please?
Yes.
Can we get a roll call?
All right, Mark Green.
Present.
Jeffrey Chris.
Here.
Dean Tambury.
Here.
Linda Muller.
Here.
Four members present. Staff present, myself, Bill Fioravanti, Marty Boras, Kelly Riley, Jose Rojas doing AV, our general counsel, Rudy Zoda and Lena Sharetta, and we have our New York State Monitor, Brian Sandwich here.
All right, first item to approve the minutes from the November 20th meeting. Hopefully everyone had a chance to review those. Does anyone motion to approve those?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, any comments? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes approved 4-0. Let's go into new business. So let's look at the 2024 financials for the IDA, please, Bill.
Yes, okay. So starting on page 5, starting with revenues. We have another IDA fee of $500, that's for a termination of a project, fee we charged. We also have our management fee from OCFC at $6,746.47, and interest earnings of $138.34 for total revenues of $7,384.81. Getting down into expenses, first and admin, we have bookkeeping expenses of $1,680, insurance of $671.29. Office supplies at $315.35 for total, let's see,
Got a monitor
my
there.
line here, and the monitor fee of $58,246.65. I'm having trouble with my eyes here.
I can do them if you want.
Yes,
The dark column is the total of that.
that's,
You want to use my glasses?
no, I don't, but that's just $58,246.65. That was the ancient total. Is that not a proper total? I'm just noticing this now. The total of that section?
Well, then I guess if you go down to your travel and lodging, then it goes up to the 61.
Yes.
This total doesn't include these.
This, if you add this and then it's this to grand
But
total.
what about these? I don't see these in this map. I'm just noticing this.
I see what
Why-
you're
I see what
saying.
you're saying.
Yeah, the bold is not, it's
It's
incorporating the
misleading,
ancient,
yeah,
but it's not incorporating the 1680, the 671, or the 315.
but I think the 61 does, under total administrative costs.
Yeah, the subtotal's not right.
Yeah, yeah.
Correct. The subtotal is not right, so we'll ignore
Correct.
that. Please ignore that figure. With total administrative costs of $61,587.28. Moving down, we have our usual IT and visual support charges, $2,012.75. Our marketing and PR at $7,080. Total agency support expenses of $9,092.75. Moving down into legal, we have legal expenses of $2,133.75. Then we also have this amount of $4,347. That's for local labor monitoring for Legoland New York. That's an expense that we bear because it's an older project when our policy required that. Total project expenses $6,480.75. And then moving into employee benefits, we have typical employee benefits lines, payroll, salaries. Total payroll expenses of $33,769.10. And then moving into building expenses, rent of $6,000 rent and rent of $6,947.02. And utilities of $484.55. And internet and telephone and maintenance at, actually we had internet at $253.16 and maintenance of $650. Total building expenses of $8,334.73. Total expenses of $119,264.61. And a net income of negative $111,879.80. We're just talking about the type, my eyes get blurry on these. I'm trying to go on one page.
I hear you, Bill, but I'm looking around and everyone else has glasses. It might
I
be
know,
time
it might be.
to, might be time to put the vanity aside and
It might be.
run over to Vision
Can't
City
get
or
far
on the ball.
enough.
All right, any questions on these expenses?
Nope.
All right,
And on page 6, got our investments in cash. A 12-month CD with Provident Lakeland at $5 million. 9-month T-bill with JP Morgan, $1,399,701. A 9-month CD with Provident Lakeland at $2.5 million. Going down to cash, our checking account, ID operation, $360,618. Our trust escrow of $47,533. And our total of our CDs and T-bills, $8,899,701, for total assets of $9,307,852.
all right. We'll come back to this in a second, if there's any, any more there we need to worry about.
Then you see our transaction lists on page 7, and our credit card bills on page 8 and 9, and 10, sorry. That's it for our payables.
Would you comment, Bill, on the attorney fee for MediaCom? They're near the top of the page 7.
Yep, we are right now paying legal fees for the MediaCom lawsuit matter, notice of claim is what it's technically called. This is because our former general counsel, Bousquet Holstein, had to step in and prepare some opposition to the late notice of claim that was being filed. We are waiting for the project, in this case MediaCom, for their insurance carrier to come to our defense. They declined to do so. So our own insurance carrier is representing us, but we do have charges for the work that Bousquet Holstein did leading up to the insurance carrier picking us up. However, we are going to be going back to MediaCom to try and get reimbursement for those legal fees. So we are, but they are, Bousquet Holstein is asking us to pay it, but they are seeking reimbursement from MediaCom. So I'm looking to pay those, but we are hoping for reimbursement because per our leaseback agreement with MediaCom, they are supposed to provide adequate insurance coverage in order to have us be represented in such a case as we have now.
But we need to approve the payment in the meantime.
Correct.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Would you mind speaking a little bit about the next item down from that, the UTEP budgets and agenda and such?
Yeah, this is mostly because of our wrapping up with Bousquet Holstein as our general counsel, so they're really getting a lot of billing in that they have just catching up with, whether it's working on our UTEP, this is everything you see, really all of these. Indigo, for example, that's the request from the county, sizable request, a lot of work went into preparing for that, all of these. Banta Hospitality, it's a recent application that they're reviewing. Yeah, this is really just all for cleanup work for Bousquet Holstein in the end. We are getting a lot of legal bills right now, but it's all coming to a head.
All right, this does bring up a comment, just because I know we might have some other things, but as it is coming up on your end, are we sending out notices to the people that support us, like our legal, accounting, anyone else that would expect payment from us? Some sort of notice that they have, it's year end, and we want their year end billing in.
Okay.
So that way, when we close our books, we're closing our books, and we're not getting these notices 2-3 years later.
Absolutely.
And that if we do not get it, then they will be subject to non-payment.
All right, I'll talk to council on the wording on that.
Yeah.
And we would accept the bill after the end of the year.
Within a certain amount of time.
Yeah, so we might want to.
Not after next year.
Yeah, I hear you, loud and clear. I was just,
I think the ultimate remedy for this is we may need to revise retainer agreements and things like that in order to include that in there, because if they're not, I don't know that we have a leg to stand on, but we still can request that we get these bills, then maybe we could remedy them as necessary.
I hear you, but, you know, if we tell people that if they don't pay, we're not obligated to pay them within a reasonable amount of time.
Mhm.
But I truly find it hard to believe that we're gonna be on the hook for bills for 3 years. I think it's unacceptable business behavior.
It is.
And so, if they don't care enough about their business, then why should we care about their business? So, somehow, if you could work with legal to create a strongly worded letter,
Will do.
that would be appreciated.
Absolutely, absolutely. Okay. Any other questions?
Nothing else really jumps out at me.
Just one silly question.
Mhm.
On page 10, for the Times Union subscription, there's no red check mark. Is there a reason for that? For $19.96.
I assume that's because we didn't first have a receipt for it. Do you know,
That's
happen to know?
correct.
We did,
Yeah.
but we did
No.
get one,
So it got paid?
yes.
No.
So, Abe is your credit card, website, QuickBooks.
Getting back to the legal you had mentioned, Mark, is it like, for these, the catch-up bills, I mean, are we receiving, do we receive anything from them that says these fees or these services were rendered, but there's no invoice attached? Is that
No,
what it was?
we always demand detail. Sometimes we do get it without detail, but we do get them. We have detail on
So-
everything we've
right.
had.
So the Mark's question, so this was invoices from past that had all the detail, but they weren't submitted, I guess, is what we
Correct.
discussed.
Correct. And it's not
So-
ancient history, the Bousquet Holstein
No,
stuff.
this isn't the one I'm worried about.
Yeah.
This stuff is pretty up to
Yeah,
date.
yeah, yeah.
These other ones right here that we'll get to. I'm gonna revisit these from
Okay,
last
so-
time.
okay. But I would tell you what, this MediaCom thing, I mean, that's a lot for, you think we went to court or something? for this
Exactly.
stuff.
We had a
It's
whole
like-
conversation about it this morning, actually
Yeah,
going
yeah.
over item by item. It's preparing the opposition, doing research, different scenarios.
I understand, I mean,
lot of notes on
I
it.
mean, so, okay. I thought maybe the one for the UTEP was old or whatever, and it was catch up for some of that.
It's more recent, really, over the last few months. It's all over
I got
activity
you.
over the last 3 months.
Okay,
Everything that's itemized in there.
thank you.
I think I'm done unless you have other questions. The credit card bills are in here. I usually don't go through them item by item, but they're included in our tables.
All right, then let's go back real quick to the CD. Anything on the horizon that you would see we would need to increase our checking account balance?
We do have a $1 million request from the county. Whether or not we come through on that amount, but that's a larger request coming in from the county for the Indigo Wells project, which I introduced to all of you at some point, but it hasn't come formally yet. I actually have a meeting on January 7th with the county about that. Now, my initial polling of members there's been pushback on that dollar amount, so I don't know that we'll fulfill it at that amount, but that is what we need to plan for.
Do we need to plan for it in January, or can we plan for it in March?
It wouldn't be January, but it could be as early as, I imagine they'd come before us in February, but they've waited several months for this, so could they wait until March if we decide to approve it in February? Yes. I don't think that would be a problem at all.
All right, because we do have one coming due for 1.4 in March.
What date is that again?
March 20th.
Yeah, a little later in March, but
this is a little bigger than the one we just discussed in OCFC
yeah.
by quite a bit. I just calculated the interest per day, if it's 5%. What, does it say what this one is? Yeah, it is 5.1. It's about $700 a day. So if we do what we decided to do in OCFC, it would cost us 3 days of interest, maybe 2. But,
Well, again, regardless though, you're not locking in a rate, so, I mean, you know, by the time it gets cleared, you're really only talking a day or two. And I don't think it's that. Like, personally, I think we take the same approach. that
yeah,
we took
I'm good with that,
FC.
yes, yeah.
I think the only question for me, again, I won't be here. My only
Yeah.
advice is, if we're not discussing that project at this meeting, then we go forward and, you know, we do the whole bit and
Mhm.
we can cross, you know, and then in March, we're gonna have 1.3 that'll come due. And that's when we'll deal with it.
My only question, we're okay with our checking balance as well? I mean, I'm just looking for what we're expending.
Well, that's what started the discussion, that's
Yeah,
why I'm asking, Bill.
Yeah, you're probably gonna say that next, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're over with our billing right now because some of the expenses that are coming in pretty high.
Mhm.
So that's why we have to monitor that more than ever now, because we're running at, you know, $30,000+ a month on one line item that was unplanned.
All right,
So I think we need to,
Mhm.
you
well,
know, we need to keep closer eye on that than ever.
well then,
that bottom line.
I have to imagine this 360 will get us through January 12th.
Yes.
And then
That-
at that
It's not
point,
that tight.
100%.
you all will have to just make a decision as to,
Mhm.
you know, whether it's 4.5, 4.75,
Mhm.
5.
Mhm.
You know, remember, you will get some residual interest that'll go into the checking account as well, so, you know, you will have to make that decision.
Do you want it to be a 9-month CD though?
Yeah, I would say it's the same, right, because that would get us through to September.
Yep.
And give us you know, that would be my advice, that it would be a 9-month, you know, the best rate we get at a 9-month for the amount that you all feel appropriate.
Look, yeah,
Well, if Jeff likes it, then we're good.
okay.
Any further thoughts or questions about the financials, and the CD, the payables? All right, so do we have to do these separate, or can we,
We've done together.
okay,
We do it together. Accepting the financials and approving the payables.
all right. So can I get a motion to approve the financials, the payables, and push the CD discussion until January?
Motion.
Thank you. Second? Linda, any more discussion on that? All in favor?
Hi,
Opposed? 4-0. Why don't we postpone the retirement? Because at that point, we'll have to go into exec session.
Sure.
Any of these others that we can?
Yes.
That we can discuss?
Yep.
Is that okay with everybody?
Yeah,
yes,
I prefer, I'm glad you said that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now, I'm gonna skip to Hodgson Rush, so I did reach out to them and told them because of the late timing of the billing that we were challenging it, looking if we could negotiate, and it was a hard no. They were insulted, so he said. That's the idea of
We're
that,
insulted too.
right?
Yeah,
So they're expecting us to pay the full $10,721.
oh, I thought that got adjusted down to 8,000 something, or am I mixed
Yes,
up?
you're right, that's the original billing.
8,000.
The billing with detail is the $8,692.04.
So we did get some adjustment
We did.
earlier, but further adjustment from the 8,000 something, no.
And just, I apologize, remind me, how old is this? This is from what was the
It's
date?
mostly from 23, yeah, it's all from 23, and
Spring, right?
when the monitor situation first
Late
came up,
winter.
going to the IG with us and some communication
From
with
the
the IG back
spring
and
of
forth.
2023.
Most of it shows here is June and July of 23.
Okay.
Can we refer to our council and what is this typically, is this something that we typically see?
Well, we did look in, our council did suggest we look at our engagement letter, and it does not require that they bill us monthly or anything like that, so this is our former general counsel's advice. This suggests-
I don't know, I still kinda wanna think about it, maybe we reconvene again next month and talk about it again.
We shouldn't be in a hurry to pay, let's put it that way.
Well, we've been discussing it for 3 months,
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
and I'm thinking it's just time to get it done and in this calendar year, or else it's gonna go to another year, but
I have no legal stand in this matter if it's not in the retainer agreement. I would just suggest in any new retainer agreements, we put a timely clause in it.
We first received this bill on August 13th, and then we got the detailed billing on September 9th. So we have had it since the 9th. with all the detail.
not that I'm happy about it, but I just think we don't need to waste any more time on it.
We're gonna pay it eventually anyway.
We all
I
good
agree.
with paying it?
Don't have a choice. We can
You
pay it
wanna-
under protest.
Motion on that?
Can we get a motion to pay this fee of $8,000?
$8,692.04.
Motion?
Also move.
Second?
So,
Any further discussion?
we do it under protest.
Sure.
I'd say we
You
put
can make
it under,
him comment on the motion.
I would make it that we do it under protest.
Well, then I'm gonna vehemently protest.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
All right, and then back to Harris Beach. This is all for our Harris reporting work. And this is work that we absolutely, all three of us can verify has been done. Julie Marshall from Harris Beach works very closely, especially with Kelly and Marty. What we had decided in committee last month was that we would look to write off 2020 and 2021, but negotiate the 2020 bill, which totaled $5,957. I did go to Harris Beach, and they did agree that they would write off 2020 and 2021, and they asked that we pay half of the 2020-22. I think that's a tremendous outcome. I frankly think that we should pay more than that, if not all of that amount, just because we know the work was done. Julie does it, she just does it very reliably and really to the T, and she's helped us a lot with our monitor, a lot of the inquiries that have come in from that. So, but Harris Beach, did offer us to pay just half of that amount, so I need to tell you that.
Well, I'm gonna quote my wife.
Okay?
It really frosts my cookies that our accounting support staff waits years to bill us. I mean, the irony weeps. So whatever they said they would agree to, then I'm fine doing what they agreed to.
And not pay more.
Okay.
Any comment on that? Can I get a motion to?
So we're paying one half of whatever the bill was for 2022 and 23 and 24, we're just gonna pay in full.
Pay in full, that's what you had agreed last
No.
month, yeah.
I would also say this, I know Linda, you had mentioned about new contracts going forward, making sure that's in there. I have to imagine we can talk to legal and do an addendum
That's what I was.
for past, that moving forward, there has got to be a reasonable time frame for when people bill us. Because I really don't want to do this again next December.
Yeah, and
We revise our engagement
you
agreements?
can, I know, like, for example, just our engagement provides for monthly billing. And when you have that, obviously you have a better leg to stand on, because if you don't provide you with monthly bills, then obviously the protests and the objections you have are all valid. But the issue becomes when those firms do not have that language, that's when it's a little tougher. But, but yes, but going forward, like any type of future work for other council, if they have to come in, whatever conflict council, they should have a clause that it should be billed monthly.
For
We do it
new,
for our- yeah.
that's fine, but can we do an addendum for,
It would have to, the firm would have to agree to that.
yes,
And we can request it, they don't have to, but we can request it, and that they would change our
I
data.
say ask them to write it up.
Yeah.
Send it over to them
Yeah.
right now. Just kidding.
right?
Vacant
I'll work
and send it over.
Yeah, and
I'm
I'll
sure
work
they
with
will.
Bill on some language that we discussed with OCFC and also with the IDA about those letters, and we can get those out.
Okay. Any other, so how much are we gonna pay?
$5,957.
All right. Any other comments before we make a motion?
The 5,957 is the total,
For 2022 total, yes.
okay?
But they offered to pay for us to pay
Oh, I'm
half
sorry,
that.
it's half.
And what was the original amount, and
Yeah,
then what
we
you
can-
agreeing to pay, just for the
Yeah.
record, so you have that clear.
$2,978.50.
Then what, and the full bill for 23 and 24.
Right, which we already have checks cut for that,
Right.
based on your instructions last month, yeah.
Well, I'll be happy to make the motion to pay what they had offered, the one half of the 2022 bill, and then pay it at $2,987.50,
78.50, sorry.
$78.50.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0.
Right. Next item is the New York State Economic Blueprint. I introduced this first last month to you, and I included it in the board packet this month as well. This is an initiative by, I'll explain this to the full board, but between the Business Council of New York and the New York State Economic Development Council. It's really aimed at trying to encourage New York to be more competitive and give them actual blueprint plans to do so. Jeff actually represented us at a roundtable discussion that this group hosted recently in Westchester County, and he gave feedback that we agreed upon, which was helpful. As a member agency, they are looking for their member IDAs and economic development organizations to contribute. They're requesting $5,000 each towards this initiative. I want you to know I did budget for that amount for other New York State EDC sponsorships that we did not use, but I am recommending that we be an investor in this initiative. So looking for your recommendation to the board,
I can say, Bill,
please.
in my attendance there, and I put it in my chairman's report for the regular IDA board meeting today, that it was a professional and well-done roundtable, which laid out a plan to complete the process that's described in the competitiveness process. And what's it called?
New York State Economic Blueprint?
Blueprint, yes. So I would say it's a positive look and appropriate use of our funds to explore where New York is in good shape on economic development and programs that incentivize that, as well as, it was pretty clear at this roundtable, generally, there were roadblocks that these people saw that could be improved upon, pretty extensive. So it's, in my mind, it's good to get the message out. And there's other roundtables around the state that are gonna discuss this also. It seemed like maybe the one I attended here, a couple, December 6th was the first one, but I didn't hear that said for sure.
Okay, well, I'm not sure if
I'm trying to find out what kind of investment are we talking?
5,000.
$5,000.
Yes.
5,000 is the initial. There could be additional costs, as I'm reading this, for production and marketing, and final recommendations may be incurred as well. But this is for the initial stage, not for the complete stage, so whatever comes afterward, I don't think that $5,000 is our initial investment, and there'll be additional requests as we move forward. It's open-ended, we don't know.
I think we take it one step at a time.
We're not being asked to commit to anything more
No.
at this point.
Understood, however, you made one commitment.
Yeah.
They'll be looking for an additional.
If
I still don't see the $5,000.
It's not.
It's not, it's the
Oh,
total.
Jesus H. Christ.
No, no, no,
It's bad.
it's the, no, no, no.
I know the total, I see the total.
She
No, I was
was
looking
showing you
at-
the addition. right?
Yeah.
But
I was called by
I'm
the
going
executive
to,
director of New York State EDC, they're looking for $5,000. Yeah.
And they've taken that $100,000 and divided by however many people are willing to cough up the money.
They were,
Are there any
absolutely,
other ideas?
for sure. I think there's pretty full participation according to the executive director of New York State
At
EDC.
the same investment rate?
Yes,
Okay, so everybody's got a $5,000 bill?
yes. That's what they're looking for.
well, I would support Jeff's,
If you and Jeff think this is
Yes.
something we should look at, then
I support.
then-
Thank
I
you.
can't say enough about the trade association the New York State EDC is, and how important they are, and how many issues they are working on all of our behalfs. So I think when it's an initiative that we feel is credible and reasonable, that I like to show our support.
all right. Any other questions? Can we get a motion to approve? the
I'll make that
$5,000?
motion.
Second, any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. Last item here is our lease extension. Just as a review for those that weren't here at the time, we went through a full analysis of looking at other spaces that we could move into here when our lease was due here. We decided, the whole board decided to stay here and to renewed with a 3-year lease that will come due in April of 2026. One of the objectives that I had in us staying here and getting this space perfect the way that we use it and the way we want it was seeing if we could get some new carpet. This room isn't too bad because it was lesser used, but you can go in any other room and you see stains all over the carpet. The landlord agreed he would replace the entire carpet, it's about 20 years old, if we would extend our lease another 2 years. So we would extend it from April of -- to April of '28, and he'd come in and make the investment in the space.
At what cost?
At no cost to us for the carpet.
No.
The extended
lease,
years,
lease.
what are,
Oh, the additional,
Like, is he jacking the rate on the monthly?
no, actually, no, the rate would still be,
He's decreasing the rate?
no, that he's not doing it. It's the same rate, rate per square foot, of course, just over
Yeah.
18, I think $18.50 per square foot, with a monthly base rent of $5,064.38.
and that holds for the additional 2 years?
Correct,
There's no change?
correct.
The only thing that changes is the
The
plan
cam.
changes.
That, I was gonna say, because it says here that, operating expenses, 10% share, that changed a little bit.
That will change because of our percentage of the entire building is up to about 18.6% of the entire building, so we do pay a greater CAM's amount based upon that. We do.
Greater than we are now. currently.
Than we are now, exactly. And right now, we're using this space and we're not paying for it.
Not paying for it.
Yeah, we have not been for several months.
But then that also means that he's not going to, or is he still looking for somebody to take in some, they may.
They are. I think the greatest likelihood is that our next door neighbors, CPL, architects and engineers, that they would eventually take the space, and it's just 2 tenants on the bottom floor. And ENT has the full upstairs.
So the extension of the 2-year lease would not include this?
It would now. It would include this space. That's what we were looking at. So he, basically, we agreed to our 3-year lease and we excluded these rooms here. It did include the room that you'll see Brian in often. And basically the landlord said, I'm not gonna take this space from you until we need it. I'll let you know when we need it. And then they were marketing that space, including this, and we were starting to use this regularly. And I approached them and said, we're gonna want this space actually. So we carved out this and a server room, and looking to extend all of that. So, but we have not been paying for that since we're paying for this new lease. We haven't been paying for this space, but we will starting as soon as this is ratified, assuming January.
And the difference in the payments will be?
I don't have that on me right now. I do have that amount. I hope it's in my notes here now.
Don't worry about it.
I think I have it in this notebook. I did do all that analysis, and I
You're
How
talking
many more
about
square
the
looked at our
difference.
budget.
Do you know what the square footage is?
It's about 564 additional square feet,
And how much?
$18 a square foot
Thank you.
per year.
Looks like it's only
10,000
$5,034.
So it's about, let's call it ratified for the extra
530,000.
$1,000 a month.
Yeah.
900.
That's for the rent on the camera.
Exactly, and I do have that anticipated in the budget for 2025 that you approved, an increase due to this increased space. I did explain that when I rolled out the budget to you. I'm a little worried that CAM's gonna be a little higher than I anticipated, but we'll see how that pans out.
What is CAM currently?
Right now, we're paying like $2,700 a month for it, 27 and change a month for CAM, and we're at like a little less than 14%.
That's utilities, everything.
It's everything, yeah.
All
Plowing,
utilities, plowing.
the landscaping
Landscaping.
stuff.
But you're only picking up another 4%.
I
Okay.
believe I think it's almost around that, yeah, I don't know exactly. but-
It's 16.64%.
Yeah,
It's a little bit more than 2% more, I think.
16.6, right?
And you were saying the square footage on that, we were talking about, it's 5 foot, it's right there, right, it's 534. So that would be an additional, if it's $18 a square foot,
1850.
Yeah.
so it would be an additional 1850.
823 a month, 823.25. But the bottom line is, either way, we do want to include the space. We want to keep these 2 rooms. Whether or not we extend another 2 years or not. For the carpet, that's really for the carpet.
So how much do we have on our current lease?
Left till April of 26. Of course, it's a reminder it's gonna be 25. Because that seems really far out, but it's just over a year. Year and
Right.
4 months.
Here's what I would prefer. We'll extend it 1 year. And we'll let the carpet.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not sure I'll do it, but,
Well,
okay.
then, you know what? Why don't you call the carpeting company and see how much it costs to put new carpet in here?
Okay.
But I'm added square footage, added cam, it's like, I don't know if I wanna lock in for 2 more years on top of what is it, that would extend us out to what, almost 3.5 years? 28. So that's 3 more years.
It is, yeah.
The only plus is holding the square footage at 1850, that's not a bad
Yeah.
rate.
It's not. That is one of
That's
the.
exactly
That's
right.
exactly right. Freezing that.
The lease, expires, you're gonna renegotiate square footage, and I highly doubt you'll get 1850 a square.
Typically at least north of 22.
Mm-hmm.
Your thought?
I'd like to go to the 2028 and keep the rate the same. We've been using this room at no cost up till now, and especially with the rate being reasonable.
Dean, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't like moving around.
I know,
The
Sadie
last,
loves
the
it.
last time I didn't like moving around. I was like looking, we're right through, driving around, looking at all these pages, we're making ourselves crazy for, and it ended up to be by the time we moved and whatever. And,
He's
and-
thinking
and
poor Jervis,
I like this,
Yeah.
but I like this area. Yeah, well, I know it's from the the football team capital of Orange County now, but because of his proximity, and we've discussed that.
All right, 2 things. 1, I was promised we'd get 1 meeting a year over there, and we haven't done it yet,
Let's
so.
do it.
We're
Zip.
on that.
2,
I agree.
I like that.
it sounds like
I
I've been
that.
overruled, not overruled, but
Robust discussion.
all valid points, so do the deal.
Okay, all right,
I'll make that motion.
great.
Second.
Any other discussions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Who picks the carpet?
What's that?
Who gets to pick the carpet?
A good question. Would you like to play? a
No,
role?
I don't know, I'm just asking.
I'm certainly gonna involve Kelly and Marty,
Okay,
that's for
good.
sure.
I'm
It's not
sh-
just gonna be a guy's
I know
opinion.
them
I'm not
well,
gonna-
they won't pick up the carpet. Otherwise, we're stuck with it until 2028.
Sure.
All right, are we done with everything?
We are.
On your
Back to
agenda for now?
compensation, yeah.
All right, then I move that we move to executive session so that we can discuss this.
Personnel?
Yeah, just discuss what,
Personnel matters?
employment, employees?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
Motion.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
welcome back, everyone. Can I get a motion to come back from executive session?
Motion.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
We are back from executive session. I need a motion to approve year-end compensation for employee number 00875 for $4,775, and for employee number 000868 for $15,000, again for compensation adjustments. May I get a motion?
I will make that motion.
May I get a second?
Second.
Any further discussions?
No.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Since there's nothing else to discuss, may I get a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All approved?
Aye.
Aye. Against? We are out.